Okay, hi guys. This is Aislinn Dowling, my good friend, long time friend. We went to college together when we were little babies, 18, 19? Babies. And we had so much fun. We lived together for a year in college. And then Aislinn recently started, you did journalism in college and now you work in social media. You work in social media, right?
Yeah, social media, content management, all that kind of crack, marketing basically.
I want to talk to you about that because I don't know how you have the patience for that shit as well. And so you work in social media and then you started a podcast, which actually led me here. I was on your podcast, so people can go and watch that episode on NotaSingleBother is the Instagram, and then all the links are on your Instagram, right? And not a single bother. Not a single bother pod.
Yeah.
Not a
Clearly, though, very close.
Not a single pod. No, imagine you called it not a single pod.
Pod, not one pod.
Not a single pod. And not a single bother. And it's not a single bother on Spotify as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's where our journey started. This is where our podcast journey started, me and you. And then I decided to do this from here. But I want to talk to you about the stress I have been feeling.
From doing the podcast?
Yeah, I think because I vowed to myself, I was like, right, I'm going to release every Monday. And I'm going to do 4 clips a week. Which honestly, it's just, I suppose, and then I had Rob helping me. But obviously that cost money, you know, because I didn't had to pay him. Like I didn't bring him on in a like a long-term way yet because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So then now I'm editing and everything. And it's just like the pressure of posting, the pressure of editing, and also the pressure of getting guests.
Yeah. It's fucking hard. It's a full-time job, like.
I was like, oh, this will take me 1 day a week. And then I was like, I need a new camera. I need lights. I need more lights.
Yeah.
And even when I'm asking people to come on and like I have no issue with it, but then I was like, sure, I can't just expect them to just fucking cart along in the bus. Like then I'm like, well, I'll go and drive and collect them, which again is another, you know, which is fine. Like I enjoy the car ride, so it's fine, but it's more just like the time, you know, that kind of way where you're just like, oh Jesus, this is a full day work.
It is, yeah. And you think it's only going to be like, because you're recording for whatever, like maybe an hour, it could be 2 hours, whatever. And people are like, oh yeah, and sure, like you're just, obviously it just takes like an hour, 2 hours. I'm like, no, like, because you're doing the prep for it. No, first you have to organize the guests. Yeah. You have to like reach out to people. And obviously not everyone is just going to be like, yeah, perfect, no worries, I'll come on a podcast. You have to sort that out. Then you have to do all the prep for it and like what you're actually going to talk about. Then they have to come over, you have to do the recording, then you have to do all the editing, and then like that, all the clips that you have to put out. And then you're doing the same thing again for the next week.
I'm like, I'm gonna take a break, guys. See you in a year. See you maybe when I'm rich and can afford everyone to do everything for me.
Yeah.
So, but okay, no. So, why have you stopped? Are you taking a break?
I'm taking a break. I'm saying I'm taking a break, but the break is now looking like May. No, I'll never say never.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'll never come back to it. It's just at the moment, I don't think I want to do it. So I was doing it and it was great and I loved it, but it's hard. And I also think my mental health just wasn't at like the best place around like shortly when around when I finished the last episode. And then I was convinced that I was going to come back because I was like, no, I've rebranded this now and I'm going to do it again and I want to put my all into it.
And you were doing so well. Like you did, it was really, what you did was really amazing. Like, you know, the way you marketed it and the way you edited it and the way you pulled it together, like it was so professional. Like people were reaching out to me being like, you're on like a professional podcast. And I was like, yeah, girl. Yep. But you know, like you did such a good job, so I can imagine that was meant, but that means you put in a lot of work, you know.
Yeah, I think just like putting yourself out there is hard. It's taxing. Like in general, I think I was just like struggling a bit with anxiety, and then that was subconsciously really weighing on that though, because I was like, you're putting yourself out there, you're putting like work that you're doing out there, and like some days it's doing good, some weeks do good, one thing might do good and another thing mightn't do very well, and you're like, okay, why was that now? Do people just hate me, or you know, was I being annoying there? You just start thinking these things that like aren't true.
Or you're editing yourself and you're like, I hate me. Like how many times am I going to watch this fucking clip? And you hear the first 5 seconds of the clip every time you're like trying to post it or trying to edit it. So it's like ringing in your ears where you're like, I'm going to go insane if I have to listen to myself say this 30-second thing one more time. Like, you know, that kind of way where you're
literally. Or there's a clip of me laughing and I'm like, I'm actually so annoying. It's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that wasn't even, because you've watched it like 30 times, it's like, okay, it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's actually not that funny. Why are you laughing?
Yeah. And I wonder if you're like me as well. Like I love. It's the pre and post that I'm like, oh, okay, so now I have to go. And so now I've tried to edit the clip while I'm doing the full episode, so I'm not having to watch the episode too many times. Because like that, you're just watching it and you're like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, do you know, this is just so annoying.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine. And then like finding the guests, I'm finding very annoying because finding them was one thing, but scheduling, like actually finding a time of the week that perfectly suits both of you.
Yeah.
And
it's so hard. Because you could be like, right, okay, these are like my guest ideas. You'll reach out to people, but like they could take ages to reply, or they'll be like, yeah, I'm free there in about 2 months' time. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do for the 2 months? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. And did you consider ever just sitting and talking? Like just being...
I did, but then I'm like, well, what do I talk about? Like, do you know what I mean?
I know.
And it would just make me, I don't know. I don't feel confident enough, I think, to like pick a topic and ramble on for an hour. I used to do that. Like I've done it a few times, but I think as time has moved on, I don't feel as confident to do that for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah,
I was the same because like when I initially, before I started, I was like, worst case scenario, I'm just going to talk about myself and it's going to be fine. And then I suppose it just doesn't excite me as much. And like that, I don't want it to feel unnatural, you know? Like I don't want to, you don't want to feel like you're manufacturing entertainment for the sake of something in your life. You know, when you're just like, okay, so now I have to be entertaining for an hour, and you're just like, okay, well, then I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do it like a voice note to friends. And then I was like, but nobody cares. No.
Literally, do they care? But like people actually do care, I think. Do you know, when I'll watch anything, so like I actually do care, and things that are like really just like people talking shit I love listening to, but then when it comes to myself I'm like, no one cares. Like no one actually cares. Do you know what I mean?
And do I care?
People actually do.
And do I care enough to do it? Like, do you know? And then I also find it's like the weekly thing is like driving me insane. Like I feel like that I'm like, okay, if I just did it once in a while when it occurred to me to do a guest, you know, when it like happened organically in life where I was just like, oh yeah, let's do one this weekend, you know? So that, because I feel like the kind of every Monday I'm kind of like hype, I've gotten it to a point now where it's smaller, it's a little bit neater. You know, when you just figure out the editing and you're like, oh, grand, I won't do this. I'm not going to cut back and forth. I can just plop them there, and then I just need to make sure they, you know. So it's gotten easier, but it's definitely like the pressure. There's like a weird pressure where I'm like, oh, if I just don't do it for 2 weeks, it's like I have to do more. Like it's a weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It is a weird thing, because when I was doing it before and I took that big break and then I went back like properly rebranded and stuff, I was like, no, I'm going to do it now once a week, because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. But fuck, I just put, like, I have a full-time job, do you know what I mean? I'm working Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5, then I'm coming home and I'm doing this. I have a boyfriend, I have friends, you know, I want to look after my health, I need to go to the gym, like being on the phone to people at home, all this kind of stuff. My whole focus was coming home, podcast stuff. Can you do this at the weekend? No, sorry, like I'm doing the podcast. Like I had no time for anything else. It was like really consuming my brain. And I was like, maybe every week is too much. But then I was in my head thinking, but there's so many other podcasts out there. Like if I'm going to be successful in this, you have to do it weekly. Like it'll eventually be grand. Like eventually maybe you'll be able to pay someone to do it. But it was taking a lot of time.
Yeah, it's too much.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that you're kind of like, you just want someone to be like, listen, do 9 months and then it will work, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
If you could get a timeline, like, grand, keep going.
Like keep going. Like in October, you know, you're going to be okay. And then, but it's like that. It's the unknown, the complete self-reliance, the complete independence, and the putting yourself out there when, like, you know, like, I don't know, maybe you're much more likable than me, but I for sure have people in my world who are snarky little bitches who are just, and it's like in those moments when I'm like that when I post something where I'm like, this is shit. And then I can hear the voices of critics, you know, or I'm just like, I know that they're just like, who does she think she is? And I'm like, who do I think I am? I don't know. Someone tell me, because I think I've lost my way. Like, help me, God. But then I'm sitting here.
Exact same though.
Yeah.
Because I hear how other people talk about, you know, people who do certain things like social media or podcasts or whatever. And I'm like, you're saying that about me as well. Yeah. There's someone saying that about me too. Yeah. And then it just gets into your head and you're like, everyone hates me. Yeah. Everyone hates me. Yeah. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah. But then like that, then I sit down here with you talking and I'm like, I love this. And I want to talk to people. And this, I think you're the same as me. Like we've always been chatterbox. No, I'm just kidding. Chatterbox. Chatterbox is such a funny word. But we've always just been chatty. Do you know, we always want to talk to people. Like, do you know, it's not like we have to force ourselves out of our shell to talk to people. So I feel like that part was like, oh, this makes perfect sense to talk to people. But I don't think I haven't really like the social media part. I think that part, like the commitment to posting. So then I'm like, maybe pull away from the clips and just let it be a podcast. Like that's where I'm going. I'm like, okay, I need to just keep doing less until it gets to the point where it's basically just not putting it online, and then see if I can enjoy that. Because like that, it's like I feel like maybe it's the self, like the stress I put on myself, where I'm like every week. And you need to be posting clips because you need to stay on the social media side of it just to build habits. You know, I don't think the algorithm is going to pick me up. Oh, this is the other question. Did you? We can edit this out if you don't want people to know. But did you pay to boost your posts?
Sometimes, the odd time, yeah, but not really. No, actually, yeah, some odd ones, but like I'm putting big money behind it. No, like a couple of dollars here and there. Like,
oh, is that all it costs?
Yeah, you can put whatever you want, but like you could do it for a couple of days. You could do it for, you could do it for one day. You could do it for a long period of time, or you could put like a large amount in. It just, and that'll like widen your audience. Or if you put a small amount in, you might expand it to like a couple more thousand. Do you know what I mean? It's very varied.
Oh, interesting.
So it's whatever you want to put into it, basically.
And you knew all of this because you're in social media marketing. So you were like, that stuff, you were kind of fully aware of what was the best strategy.
Yep. Yeah, but it's very straightforward as well, I think.
Is it?
Anyways, maybe I think that because I have done it, but I actually still do think it's quite straightforward. Yeah, well, I imagine like Instagram and they're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to make money and do, like, you know, I do, like even with YouTube, I was adding like the end credits and it was like stuck in the, you know, when you've like, you know, you're like, oh, I need to do an end credit. I need to do an end, and it was just in my fucking head, like narking at me. And then I went into YouTube and I was like, oh, kind of have it set up for you. I was like, oh, this is actually grand. So those moments I felt a sense of relief where I'm like, oh, Instagram, they kind of want you to be able to do this, like scheduling the posts and stuff. Scheduling the posts has been a godsend because I'm like, right, just bash off all the social media in like half a day. But I was curious because I suppose you're the same, where I feel like you gave it such a go, and I still think you should keep going in whatever sense. Like, I don't think it matters if you dip in and out. Like, I don't think anyone actually cares except yourself if you take breaks. I really don't, you know? But like, I really think you should be proud of what you did, because what you did was like, you gave it such a professional feel, and it was, you could just tell you really worked hard on it, you know? So I just think like, well done. Thank you, honey, and you too, likewise.
And so at what point were you like teetering, where you were just like, I'm nearly fucking done with this shit? Like after recording this last episode, or kind of when you were trying to think of more guests? Like what was the kind of, what's going to be the straw that breaks my camel's back?
So what was it? I'm trying to think. So I think it was 14 episodes, and then I went home to art.
Did you, sorry to interrupt you, but did you record all 14 before posting any?
No, I've recorded, I can't remember how many, like 6 before I actually like took off, and then I just recorded them as I went, and was recording, then uploading and recording and releasing. Again, it was just based on when people's availability was and stuff like that. So then I went home to Ireland and I came back. So I took like, I can't remember. Well, now I've taken a couple of months break, but I was initially taking like a 6-week break. I recorded an episode with someone. It was actually with a drag queen, and I feel bad, but I did it, and I did like loads of TikTok-y things and social media clips and stuff with her, and then I was just like, do you know what? And I was really like humming and hawing. I was like, oh, I feel so bad. I feel bad for recording it and not releasing it, because the drag queen obviously took like 3 hours to get ready and come home to my apartment as well. So that was one thing. And then I was just like kicking myself, because I was like, I've put so much work into it, I can't give it up. And then I was chatting to Kira, and she was like, no one cares. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody cares, only you. Do you know what I mean? If you take a long break and come back again in like a year's time, nobody actually cares. Like, nobody's going to be judging you. If it's weighing too much on you, if it's stressing you out, just fuck it off. And I was just like, I really didn't want to. I felt like I was working hard for it, and I put so much effort into it, and I felt like a failure. That's what I felt like. And then I was just like, do you know what? Actually, it doesn't matter. And I messaged the drag queen, and I explained why I was stopping, and they were so fine about it. They were literally like, don't worry about it, look after yourself, we can re-record another time, it doesn't even matter. And then I was like, grand. And since then I felt such a weight off my shoulders, but it's still, obviously I'm still thinking about it, and I'm like, maybe down the line, but just not right now.
It's like an ex-boyfriend where you're like, right thing, wrong time.
Exactly.
But I do think, and I don't think, to echo Kira, like, I don't think anybody cares in the sense that they're like disappointed in you. But I do think, like, from my perspective, I was like, good for her. You know, I saw it and I was like, good for her. And it was like, it was just, I think there's a lot of people who push, you know, and I can tell when someone who I follow is tired, you know, that kind of way. And I'm like, go do your thing, you know? And you didn't get to that point. Like, I don't think you let it get to the point where it actually really deep, I don't know, but like, I'm not your therapist, but like, you know, you didn't let it get to the point where it was actually affecting you in a weird, you know what I mean? You were like, okay, this doesn't feel good, so I'm going to stop. And I think, like, why would you do anything that doesn't feel good anymore? Do you know, that kind of way? Yeah.
Because you have to be in a good mood when you're doing it as well. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be dreading it. No. I think as well, I was just thinking, like, because I've stopped and started it, is it 2 times now or 3 or whatever? And I was like, oh, people are going to be judging me and thinking that I'm, I don't know, like a failure, or like that she keeps trying but is just not getting there.
No,
do you know what I mean?
think that's only people, and I'm talking to you people, it's only people who don't do anything that think like that. Because anybody who has tried and stopped anything will recognize what you've done. You know what I mean? So I think anyone who's tried anything outside their box, or even tried a new skill, like some people just pick up the piano for 6 weeks and they stop and they're like, that's not for me, or that's not for me right now, I don't have the time. Anyone who pushes themselves recognizes what you're doing, and I don't think there's like literally anything to even be concerned about. I think the only thing is whether you miss certain elements of it in your own life. Do you know, that kind of way? Like, that's probably where I would be like, oh, well, I hope she doesn't think it had to be this to do it or anything. Do you know, that kind of way? Like, and I think I'm probably speaking to myself there, because I'm at that point now where I'm like, I can't be chasing these fucking people. I can't be like, if I feel needy, like I don't want to feel needy. Do you know, that kind of way?
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling. I'm giving myself the ick with that feeling, because that's just not who I am. I'm a cool girl. Like, I have been a
cool, calm and collected.
Yeah. You know, I attract, I don't chase. So I'm like, I can't be fucking chasing these people, you know? And obviously, thank God, I have friends who are fun that I can be like, come on. But then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just repeat, like you did it, because you did a good few episodes with Erin then. You were just like, right, this is comfortable, this is calm, I'm just going to bring Erin on, like, it's chill.
Yeah.
And like, did you enjoy that version of it, or did you feel underwhelmed by that version of it? Because like, I think maybe I'm just like following you. What you've done, because I'm like, I'm just going to bring Kieran, you know, my friend who came on, and I'm sure you saw the clips. So
I listened to the whole thing.
Oh, did you? So cute. He's gas. He's gas.
He's gas.
So I feel like also we just have fun together, so that felt like almost nothing. And his episode was really easy to edit, because again, he doesn't give a fuck. Do you know, that kind of way? He didn't need to watch it beforehand. Thank you, Kieran. Not the people you can watch, everyone can watch, but it is a lot easier when you can just get into the flow of things and don't have to think about. It's an extra 2 or 3 days when people are watching and get back to you, whatever. And so then I was like, I'm just going to do like maybe once a month with Kieran. Do you know? And then, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do once a month with my dad. And then I was like, and then it's like, okay, at least then twice a month is just taken care of. And then maybe just do one guest a month that's kind of, you know, that gives me that feeling of like chasing. Because I don't hate it, but the every week having to get someone new is a lot, like.
It's a lot, like, and there's only so many people out there. Do you know what I mean?
In the world.
It's not like we don't have to pick of the bunch. Like,
I just open the window. I'm just going to open the window and be like, "Whoo! Anyone out there? Come on in, gang." I'm taking anyone at this point. But honestly, yeah, like
my mom sometimes is like, "Why don't you try Tommy Tiernan?" I'm like, do you think Tommy Tiernan is going to come on my podcast? Do you know what I mean? If you don't try, you don't know. And I'm like, fair, absolutely fair. But like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if I was like way up higher. But like, she's like, yeah, try this person out. And I'm like, yeah, it's just not that easy though.
No, it's not. It's not. And like, and it's amazing right now as in the sense that anyone can do it, but that means anyone can do it. And so you just become anyone until you're someone, which is frustrating, you know?
Exactly.
And it is really hard. But I do think, like when I saw you, I'm going to cry.
Stop. You're always crying, and I love it because it makes me start crying. I'm like, she's the cutest little angel.
No, because like, you know, because I think like when I see you, but I see you in Classy, and then what I do, I see you just like bouncing around and just being so kind to everyone, and I'm like, I do think you were made for it. I do think you were made. I do think.
That's what made me start crying.
Oh, I swear. And like, there's someone who did this weird, I don't know if you've seen it, it's pretty niche, not niche, but it was like an RTE house renovation, but it was like two architects and they were competing against each other, and it was like a woman, I don't know, she's, I'm going to look up her name, but she's a TV presenter. And like, when I see TV presenters, certain ones, they remind me of you. You know, that kind of way, like I do. Yeah, I do think you have that personality type where I'm like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. But like that, it's like, how do I do it? Tell me how to do it. Like someone tell her how to do it. So it doesn't make you, you know, so it doesn't make you feel like you're on your own, pushing yourself into a space that doesn't feel comfortable. You know, that kind of way. But like, like it just made sense. Like when you were doing it, I was like, yeah, this is what she's supposed to do. And I was like, someone go get her. You know? Do you feel like being an...
Go on.
You go on.
I always think, though, for me, if I had more people around me that were like in the creative kind of industry, it would be a lot easier. Like if I had people to talk to or people to like push me. Because like when you met Kelly that time when we did the podcast, and she's not in Sydney anymore, but like if I had like her around all the time, or like just other people, like all the girls are nurses, Erin's a teacher, nobody works in anything like creative, they all just have like normal jobs. If I had people that would be like, yeah, I can help you with this, or like give me ideas, or like understand it a bit more to like push me in that sense, or like really have a knowledge of it, then maybe it would help me. But I feel so like alone sometimes when I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean?
See, I think harder. See, what I was going to ask you is that, do you think being in Australia affects it because you don't have like a kind of grounded network? Do you know that kind of way? Like obviously you have a big, massive social network, but I do think it is a lot different than actually being in Ireland. Being in Australia is different than being in Ireland, for people who didn't know. But like, do you know what I'm saying? You're Irish in Australia. You know, you're Irish in Australia, so it's not like you, like, do you know the way I kind of half know people that might work somewhere in RTE? Like my uncle says he knows Marion Keys or whatever. Like, do you know the way you kind of, you know, that kind of, like, sorry, Pat, but he like, and he does, I'm sure, know her, and I'm not going to straight away use that, but just kind of the comfort of being aware that my uncles live here. Like, do you feel like Australia has kind of made you feel more alone? Sorry.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
To everybody in Australia, you should all come home.
No, in that sense, because I feel like the community of the Irish community in Ireland of like creators or podcasters, whatever, social media people is so close knit, whereas there's not that in Australia. And like that, like you'll get to know this person, or like this one's aunt works with this company, or it's because Ireland is so small that it would definitely benefit me. So then I do think like when I eventually move home, that's maybe when I'll start it up again, because maybe it'll be a fresh start. But I don't know. I don't even know what that would look like when I do move home. A lot of shit to get sorted when I do move home. But yeah, that's what I think in the back of my head anyways.
Yeah, because I do think that, because even like when you were saying they're not being around the like creatives or people who are kind of pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. So you're just like, oh, grand. Like, do you know, like you want people around you who are embarrassing themselves so you can embarrass yourself, do you know, or who describe it as being part of the package. Do you know, that kind of way? So I do feel kind of lucky, because like that, I just went, one of my friends is a comedian, Justine, and she'll be on, Justine Mulligan, and she'll be on, but she's in the comedy circle, and even like that, like I went to one of her comedy gigs, and even just watching other people, you know, because it's such a small knit, like that, you just become familiar with the environment a lot faster, and then it just makes it a little bit less scary. Whereas I feel like Australia is super daunting, and it's a lot of the same. Yeah, I feel like creatives kind of stay in their country. I do think there's an advantage to doing something like this and being in your own country because of that, or something.
Country, yeah, definitely.
There is, isn't there? Like, I don't.
Yeah, because you're just an Irish in Australia. Do you know what I mean? It's a smaller, like Australians are doing their own thing, and it's probably easier for Australians to like get going and do their thing in their country. But it's a lot easier to grow in your home country, I think.
Yeah, and even the vernacular, like even the way we talk and the way we bounce off each other, like Ireland, Irish people have such a specific tongue, like I feel, do you know? So I feel like if I was to be in America and now interviewing Americans, say, or not even interviewing, just chatting with Americans, I do feel like I'd have to just kind of like, you know, filter my Irishness a little bit out, you know, that kind of way. Whereas I feel like when you sit down with someone Irish, you're just like, who was your ma? I feel like I know her. Do you know the kind of way you do? There's a kind of knowing with each other. And so I do feel like, but at least you're in Australia, because there are so many people in Australia. But yeah, I can imagine that was a little bit hard to not have your like home network, or home, just feeling at home as well when you're doing something like that pushes yourself out of your comfort zone. There's a lot to being said to just then go and have a normal day with your family. Because I can imagine as well, like I think in Australia it's such a social bubble. So it's like you're with everybody your age, whereas like I can kind of disappear into anonymity. Yeah, is it anonymity?
Is that right?
Anonymity?
Anonymity?
Anonymity. But I feel like it's spelled anon. But anyway, I feel like I can slip into a little bit better, because like that, you know, you're with your man, dad, you know, that kind of way. It's a little bit different than I think being in Australia and then going straight out to a load of people your age who follow you on Instagram, and straight away it's like the two worlds are very much together, do you know? So I can imagine that was kind of hard to like straight then go out on a Friday night and see everyone who's been watching. Whereas I can kind of...
This should be scary.
Yeah. Whereas I can kind of spend...
Not that I've had like hundreds, or not that I'm going around and I'm like,
no.
You've been listening to the podcast, yeah. He's looking at me because you listen to the podcast. I know it.
What would you call your followers if it's not a single bother? It's like, what would you call notters, singlers, bothers, and botherers? Botherers, like botherers.
The notters.
The notters? I kind of like that. But like that she is, I can tell by her, you know, she's looking at me, but I think it's even worse. Like I had a really good advice from somebody who again, it was like that. I met a guy who was putting himself out there in a different way. Like he put himself out there in social media, he's teaching English or whatever, and like that, just posting stuff all the time. So I felt like he was a good person to talk to, because like that, you're kind of aware. I think people like it becomes a habit, and it becomes like a job in the sense that you kind of become less attached to people actually watching it, and you become, I don't know if this is the same for you, but I've become more attached to just the habit of doing, where I'm just like, keep doing and let go of, keep doing and let go of the viewing as much. Like, don't worry about what people are saying, don't worry about what people are watching, just try to get into a flow of it where it doesn't feel like, oh, I have so many things to do. Do you know, that's where I'm kind of aiming towards. And yeah, he said at the start, where he was like, well, at the start is probably the hardest of anything. Because at the start, it's just people you know. Like, you're just relying on people you know. You're just relying on your friends. You're just not even relying on, you're just doing it for the people that you know. Like, you know, so it's so weird. Like, it's easier to do it for people you don't know. Because you're like, yeah, that's me, whatever, who gives a fuck? Like, that's what I do. But it's the people that you know, and they're just like, oh, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's mad. Like, even, do you know, I'll put out an episode and then I'll go into work and they'll be like, oh yeah, I listened to your thing last night. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, don't.
Oh, don't actually listen.
Don't.
Yeah, don't actually bother.
Yeah, or like, I've had really close friends where they're like, oh, I need to watch that episode actually. And I'm like, no, don't. Like, don't be like, you don't have to. Don't anybody.
Actually, when people say it to me face to face, I'm like, no, actually, don't at all, please don't. That's so awkward.
But it's only the people that you know at the start. Like, that's why it is so odd. So I feel like when he said that to me, he was like, it's the start is the hardest part. Like, the start feels the most vulnerable. The start is the weirdest. And even, I watch a lot of comedians' podcasts, because like, comedians are kind of some of my favorite people in the entire world. But they even say that playing to a room of family and friends is a lot harder. Like, if they know that one of the, you know what I mean? It's harder with people you know, because they've grown with you. Like, and I think it's the same with what you've done and what I'm doing now. It's that way you're just like, I know it's a small group of people I know now, and I would actually rather almost be a room full of strangers, because at least then I'm not going to see you at Christmas. Like, do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
Like, I'm Scarlett to see like some of the things I said. I'm like, oh shit. I hope my auntie doesn't watch that. Oh shit, you know?
When you think about those people, it's like, oh, I've been talking about kind of crazy stuff, and like my fucking 70-year-old aunt might be listening, and they are like,
they are.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and you want them to, because they're the people who love you. You're like, yeah, I want the love. I want to feel the unconditional love, for sure. I want them to be proud of me, but then it's like, okay, but I'm talking about sex for 5 minutes there, just, yeah. And I think, to be fair, my dad was so cute, because he listened to my first episode, and he was like, and he brushed through it, and he was like, and then even the way you mentioned your period, he was like, very organic, very natural, and I was like, like, just gagging to myself. I'm like, oh god, don't want to.
He even said that is so funny.
I know, and
that came in so natural.
Yeah. It was just, I think he was trying to, because I think he genuinely, my dad loves Joe Rogan at the minute. Like, he'll never stop loving him. He loves the no editing format. Obsessed. Right. Yeah, loves it. So I think he was kind of trying to encourage me to not edit. He's always been like, no edits, don't edit. Don't edit. Yeah. He's a journalist at heart. So I think that was his way of being like, and even that was good. And even that was fine. And even, you know, so it was one of the nicest, weirdest moments of it all, you know, where I was just like, oh, my dad is so cute that he like put himself in the position to say the word period to me to show his support to me. Like, that's love. That's
cute.
Yeah, it's so cute. But what about your parents, like, from compared to the first time that you did it and the second time? Because I feel like for me there was 2 times. I don't know if you took like a smaller break in between, but for me there was like 1 and 2 of NotaSingleBother.
Yeah, there was 2. The first time I was doing it was just so sporadic. Like, it was just like here, there, and everywhere. And then that's why I wanted to come back and be like, right, do it consistently. You know? So yeah, there was just 2. But the first time, I was just so all over the place. What did they think? Like, what did they think of the podcast in general?
Yeah, no, like, what did it feel like to be their daughter during both times? But do you know what I mean?
It's amazing.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Because there is that weird, like, you know, they're the people who know you and love you, and like, they're the most important people. I do think your parents, because it's forever, you know, it's one of your, you know, so there is a weird kind of transition where they have to become accustomed with you doing something like this. Do you know what I mean?
It's weird. When I'm doing it, I'm like not really thinking about, like, Mom has literally said loads of times, like, because she listened to every episode.
Does
she's
she?
Like, every episode. She's like, I really don't think that it should be.
That's cute. You're a good mom.
You shouldn't have said this or that, like all this kind of stuff. But I'm just like, Mom, you don't understand. Like, people, you know, like, you're just a different age demographic. Like, people don't care about if I'm cursing or whatever. Or people don't care if I'm talking about this. People love realness, but she doesn't, not that she doesn't understand it. She thinks It'll stop me from getting like jobs down the line, or like sponsorships down the line. I'm like, Mom, that's not the case though, because the more successful you are as a person and being real, you'll get more views, and then that's how you get sponsorship. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to not, if you have loads of views, they're not going to not sponsor the podcast because I said fuck 5 times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
But obviously I understand how she has that mindset. So.
Yeah. And it's such a new wave. It's a new wave of, I do think it's journalism / entertainment. You know, I don't think it's both. And I think it used to just be journalism that they would watch, and it would be like 5 minutes of someone, and you couldn't, you know, and then it mattered so much what they presented them. And also, I do think our parents came from a time where people would hide themselves. Like privacy was probably more valued, or like, you know, you kind of had different personalities that you would stretch at different points. Like, you know, you kind of had to, whereas like that, I'm like, no, you can kind of, you can do whatever you want now. You know, it's a different time. You can do whatever you want. Because I don't think we would have gotten away with any of it. You just wouldn't get away with it 20 years ago. Like,
when I started it, I wanted to be like really honest, and like that's what I wanted it to be, because people used to be like, oh, would you like to work in radio and stuff, and I'm like, I actually wouldn't, because it's too, no, I'm not going to rule that out. Maybe down the line I might, do you know what I mean? But in general, you're so filtered, like you can't say fully what you want to say. You can't fully say your opinions because you're on radio. So I don't like that. I want to be able to say what I want to say and talk about any kind of topic. So
100%. And also I think I don't want a fucking salary. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I do think that there's a level of ownership to this that I'm obsessed with. Like, do you know, like as much as it's all the stress is on your shoulders, if/when, universe, listen, there is success, that's all on your shoulders as well. So I do think that there's obviously radio, I think would be an amazing stepping stone at any point. But I wouldn't ever choose, I wouldn't choose a radio over a podcast, I don't think, because like that.
No, I wouldn't.
No, like you would do it as well, or, you know, but like, I think that this forum is one of the best forums if you want to be in radio. I think a podcast is like, for me anyway.
Exactly. I think it's the way going forward anyways, to be honest. Like obviously radio still exists and stuff, but like more people, I actually think more people are, like didn't loads of people leave 2FM there last year. What the reason was for that, I don't know, but they all have their own podcast now. All the presenters do their own little podcast, so they're more successful from that anyways. Probably get paid more.
Get paid more, hopefully. And also it like what you put in, you get out. Like it doesn't become a tiredness thing, you know? And also you get to choose the guests. Like I would hate to work, and this is even me with screenwriting, like I want to make my own stuff. I just don't like being told what to do if I'm not, like, you know what I mean? I just don't like being told what to do. Especially in something that you're supposed to be giving your opinion, you're supposed to be being yourself, like that's what you're relying on. So then being told what to do feels completely opposite to that. Like it feels unnatural almost to be like, we want your opinion, we want honesty, but will you talk to this person who you don't necessarily vibe with or agree with their way of living, you know? So it's a strange one. Is there anything that you like 100% or like were you tempted to ever delete an episode?
I did delete an episode that I did when it was like my second episode. I had like Dennis and a load of his friends on.
A load? How many boys?
Sorry, not a load. There was there was 3 of them, and then I think like it was so unorganized at that time. But we were all just like in the sitting room, and there was Dennis, 2 of his friends, and then one of our other friends just arrived halfway through, and then he was involved. But it was lads, it was just, how many years ago was that now? Probably fucking nearly 5 years ago. And I just feel like I was way younger. And the topic was lads' opinions on girls' questions. So I got girls.
Oh, I love that.
Ask questions. Yeah, it was interesting. But also, it was Dennis that made me delete it. He didn't really want to do it in the first place, and he ended up doing it. And then just afterwards, he was like, please delete, please delete, please delete. People just kept bringing it up to him, and he's like, it's so embarrassing. So I ended up deleting that one. And I'm kind of glad I did, because it was a bit cringe.
Well, I think obviously your relationship with Dennis as well takes way more priority. Like, you don't want him to resent what you're doing, and like the best way to do that. You know what I mean? You don't want him to be like, well, I hated it. doing my one. Because I said the same to Adam. Like, obviously, me and Adam are so close. And I was like, would you come on? And he was like, no. And then I was like, yeah, you're saying that now. I was like, wait till I have millions of subscribers and then you'd be straight on. And he was like, that would make me want to go on less. And then I looked at him and I was like, what? It made me so impressed with him, though, that I was like, this is not your thing. And you're so okay with it not being your thing. It's really not like, you're not being like, people say no. And I'm like, okay, you're saying no because I'm small. And that's fine. Like, I respect that. It's not a big deal. But that they would come on if it was worth it business-wise or professionally or whatever. And then there's people who are just like, can't do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's really not for you.
Yeah. Really, like Dennis, you couldn't pay him, I don't think, to do it.
Yeah.
It's just, no.
Is he a man of few words? I know this is the only thing we'll mention about Dennis, don't worry. He wouldn't even, does he even watch your episodes?
Sometimes he does.
Yeah, same.
It depends.
Yeah, same. It's gas, isn't it? You kind of like that, though.
Like, that's actually really rude that you don't listen.
No, it's quite nice. I do think it's quite nice because it just keeps your life grounded when you have somebody who doesn't give a fuck. Sorry, in the best way possible. But you know what I mean?
No,
like, as in, he's not, it's not like it's not the thing about you that he cares about. Like, do you know that kind of way? Like,
exactly. Like, he'll talk to me about it, like, in person. And loves to hear about who the guest, and wants to know who the guest is and stuff. But he's not going to listen. Like, if it's me and a load of girls chatting about stuff that he doesn't care about.
Yeah, it's so real. Like, that's what I mean. It's very, it's very I can imagine you, like, it makes sense for you to be with somebody who's more grounded. Because I feel like the more you want to do things that are out of the box, I think it's nice to have somebody who's a little bit more just like, okay, well, what's for dinner? And you're like, oh yeah, that's what matters right now. Why am I stressed? So that's really sweet. Does he not like you even talking about him?
She doesn't really care about that.
Oh, does he not? So how did you meet?
How do we meet? So I lived with 7 girls at the time. No, sorry, there were 7 of us, 6 plus me, and 2 of them went to college with one of his best friends from home. And so
just out.
They kept me, just out. Then we kept bumping into each other.
Oh, nice.
The rest is history.
Ah, that's so cute. You look good together. I'm happy for you. It looks like a good match.
There's a bigger story to that now. There's a bigger story to that, but I won't be telling it.
Yeah, no, I didn't want you to. I was just, I didn't know how you've met, so I was like, I have to ask you now. I can't live. I don't live in this curiosity for the rest of the hour. And you just went to Thailand.
I just went to Thailand, with mum and dad. It was so nice. Cute. And my younger brother, Eamon. Yeah, it was fab.
And so was it just your sister at home then without a sister and Sean?
And Sean, So Sean was in Spain, and then just my sister at home with the 4 kids.
See, she has the 4. She has the 4. So I do feel like Christmas becomes something different. So that was probably quite nice for Eamon to like actually go and have like an abroad holiday. It was
really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and him and Dennis got on really well as well. So it was actually good. It was lovely.
Ideal. Okay, and so with your job, who do you work for?
I work for a corporate events company called Forfeit Events. So we run conferences, like for any industry really. So let's say like if there's a marketing conference, we'd run something like that, or like HR, literally fucking anything, data, cybersecurity, all that kind of shit.
Yeah, I used to work in Mandalay Bay in Vegas, and they had a conference building, and so you would be essentially organising that with Mandalay Bay, organising the food, like you're the events manager for conferences. Is that what it is?
Where we create the content, we get the speakers, we get the sponsors, our operation team, then they deal with the venues. We get the people to come to it, and then we do the whole thing, like basically.
And you do the social media for them?
Yeah, social media and marketing, content creation.
And so was that like similar to when you were doing the podcast? Like, did you feel like the skills were literally the same in the social media sense?
It's like similar, but different. So I felt like the podcast stuff was like itching another side of my brain, basically, because what we do is like very B2B kind of corporate. So there isn't, it's like a little bit creative, but it's still like corporate. You're dealing with just like, there's no like element of like humor and adding in your own kind of flair to things. So then doing the podcast was like more Instagram stuff, TikTok-y, all that kind of stuff, whereas this is very LinkedIn based. So it's like different elements of it. But there's a lot of like video editing, photography and stuff from what I do at work. And then the other side of it was like more creative, doing the podcast.
Okay, yeah, nice.
So that's kind of why I want to do the podcast as well, just to have that on my CV as well, to like keep that ticking over, do you know what I mean, for like future kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm. 100%. I think anything that you do like that is going to help you no matter what. Like it also just shows the hard work, you know. Like I do. Like I don't know. From my perspective, I hope to run a company, and if I was to hire someone and they'd gone off and done anything on their own that showed hard work, dedication, self-sacrifice, investment, like, you know, those are skills I think that any good leader would look at and be like, good for you. That's what I tell myself anyway when I'm fucking here. I'm like, people will respect me one day.
Where do you want to go with the podcast then? What's your, or do you have a goal, or are you just kind of playing it by ear?
So actually, I'm glad you asked me. I'm glad you asked me. Because I was actually going to run my idea by you, because like that, I'm trying to figure out what I don't like, what's making me feel anxious, what's making me feel like, not good enough, stressed, like not like myself. Like that's what I would describe it as, you know, kind of like needy. I don't like that needy feeling. So I think I'm going to try and do what, like, I suppose I'm not thinking about results as much as I'm thinking about how sustainability for me emotionally and spiritually and financially, sexually. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm trying. I think I'm going to try and do one a month, one every 4 weeks with my dad, because it's so low maintenance. Like there's no planning. I love talking to my dad, and my dad is a full-on conspiracy theorist, like hilariously. And he's got...
I love the episode with your dad. It's so cute.
And it's so good. Like I was like, oh, you go. You go. You tell Rob what to look up. You talk. You tell me. And I was just sitting there. And again, do you know the way sometimes you'll have a guest on? You'll know. We can talk about guests. But you'll have a guest on where you're just like, oh, they're relaxed from the get-go. And so it's you don't have to spend that first 20, 30 minutes, sometimes 40, like, you know, depends who it is, kind of like getting them to a level of relaxed where it can actually be an enjoyable experience for both of you, you know? I didn't know people were so nervous about stuff.
Some people are so nervous. Just trying to understand, like, if they've never even showed interest in doing anything like this. I feel like relax. It's the two of us talking. Yeah,
but I feel like also an ignoramus where I'm like, oh yeah, of course it matters. Of course it matters. Like, of course. And especially I think for us it is easier because once you do 2 or 3, you're just like, right, well, it's done now. You're gone into the abyss. People know who I am now. Whatever the fuck happens after this, mistakes or not, it's coming, it's going, whatever. Who I have to edit for next week. You're like, you become more stressed by the actual workload than the people looking at it in that way. And so I didn't predict, I don't think people, like, it taken 40 minutes sometimes for people to warm up, you know, and for people to kind of feel like the way I feel them organically, do you know? So with my dad, like, he sat down and I was like, oh, you're meant to do this. Like, do you know, like, I almost feel like my dad needs a platform, you know, and like he would never, do you know? So I was like, right. If that's, and like, he's not like I was like, do you want to do it by yourself? And he's like, no. Cause I was like, maybe you should have one yourself, you know, because you're so good at this. And I want to listen to you. And then he's like, no. And I was like, okay, but will you do mine? He's like, 100%. And also my dad is a workaholic. He won't ever admit that. Maybe one day if he gets into whatever the workaholics AA is, but he, if something is work related, it gets him going. So I think it's like a cheat hack for me to spend more time with my dad, you know, and like have video evidence of it. Yeah. I'm like, worst case scenario, Ava has loads of conversations with me and my dad, which is really cute, you know? So I'm going to do my dad once a month. And then I think I'm going to do like a friend once a month and have it like the Giggly Squad or call her daddy type of vibe. Like, that's what I was going to say to you. Like, if you started up, like, would you just have like a co-host for certain episodes and then kind of playlist it? Like, that's what I'm thinking strategy wise. I might do like have one guest a month kind of thing. And you know what I mean? And only feel that pressure. And obviously I'm a screenwriter. Yeah. For those who don't know, I'm a screenwriter and I'm moving into directing now. This was to practice all of this was, you know, I'm known cameras and lighting and everything. And so I'd love to have a film series, and then but I can't get 4 film guests a month. Like that's too much. So do you know, have that as like, okay, once a month I get someone from film, once a month I have Kier on, or you know, like my friend Sorka is doing it tomorrow, who's hilarious, and I'm like, I could get her back on again. You know, have it to a point where there's 3 laid back episodes a month where it's very relaxed. There's no real hosting or chasing, and then have the chase be once a month. That's where I'm kind of thinking now.
That's a good idea. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah,
and then you won't get sick of it, like.
Yeah, and it would just feel different each time, because like I think you're very like me. Like we like to have the crack. We do, and we like to talk about serious things. Yeah, and then we'd like to talk about serious things. Like I think that's probably why you're going to be why you are and will be successful in something like this, because there's a range. Like you're interested in most people and like whatever conversation they want to have, you know. So I think
somebody said to me before, like this is a long time ago, and they were like, "Oh, you need to like pick a theme for your podcast, like an overall theme." And I was like, "No, I don't wanna."
Yeah, see, people said that to me as well.
For it to be successful, you need to have a theme, and I'm like, but
yeah.
I don't want to, and because I'm like you said, like I like loads of different things, and I'm multifaceted. You know what I mean? I like just having the crack, talking shit. I also like to talk about serious stuff the odd time, and the serious stuff can vary from one thing to the fucking other.
Yeah.
And I like just listening to different things, even in what other people do. I'll get sick of listening to the same thing all the time, and I'll want to change. And I feel like a lot of people are like that. Yeah. But maybe not.
No, 100%. I think you're right. And I think that's probably the freedom of podcasts, is that you get to do whatever the fuck you want. And like, you know, honest to God, like that's like the more people were telling me what to do, the more I was like, well, now I'm going to do what I want more now. Because you're fucking annoying me. Like, that's the same people, like, same good advice and bad advice comes from the same person a lot of the time. But one of the same guy, he was like, I think you should go into screenwriting and like really focus on screenwriting and like how to write a script and like, you know, really. And I was like, yeah, I could do like 4 or 5 episodes like that maybe. Yeah. And then if I get bored, I'm not going to do it anymore. But I'm not going to pigeonhole myself and be like, I'm starting a screenwriting podcast. Like I'm the authority on screenwriting. When like that, I'm like, no, I want to talk to my dad this week. Like, you know, I want to force my dad to sit down and talk to me for 2 hours. Like that's what I want. And maybe people aren't interested, but at the end of the day, life is about the journey, you know, and I want to just have fun the whole way through it. So like if you were to bring it back, when you bring it back next week, no, I'm just kidding. When you bring it back, like, what way do you think that you could do it that would make it not a chore? You know, like make it more comfortable for you?
Definitely wouldn't be able to be weekly anymore. That is for sure. I can't do the weekly. It's too much. I would say something similar to you. Maybe like, probably monthly is probably way more feasible, because balancing a job, social life, it's fucking possible. I just hated saying no to everything and doing something that wasn't even making me money. Do you know what I mean? So I think doing it monthly would be the main thing anyways. That would sort me out.
And did you ever consider that? Yeah. Did you ever consider having a co-host?
Not really, because I don't know who that would be. Do you know what I mean? Like the only person out of my friends, I know Holly has done it before as well, like years ago, but I don't think she'd have much interest in doing it these days. Erin is the only one that's ever shown interest in it, and she's actually so good at it as well. Like she's just, the minute like it starts, she's just like perfect and into it, as if she's always been doing it. But she's always been here, there and everywhere. Like she's a teacher. She's been living in fucking the back arse of Victoria there for a while. Then she was at home. So, and it's not her job. Like she's a teacher. So that's not where she's interested. So if there was somebody, then but no, there just hasn't been anyone that would, that I'm close with.
Yeah.
Or you. Maybe we could be together.
I was thinking, I was like, to take, like, there is a lot to be said for having someone who knows you so well, and to have a friend, you know, like a genuine friendship first, because like I would like that. I don't think I would want to pull someone in who isn't naturally a friend. You know, obviously you want that, but like that as well, I don't want to have to like the showing up every week, both of you, is hard. Like it's hard enough to schedule with guests, but then also having a co-host and like being like, right, well, Friday works for me. Does Friday work for you? Oh no, Friday I have this. Okay, so Saturday morning, like those conversations make me want to fucking curl up and die. So I feel like, that's why I like doing it by myself. But yeah, 100%, like that's why I think I'm so happy to have repeat guests, like the way you did as well, where I'm like 100% you could just keep coming back, but I don't want to have to rely on your schedule as well as my own. So, yeah. But that's why I
am jealous of people that do co-hosty things. Like, I don't know if you ever listened to I'm Grandmam, like those two lads.
Oh yeah. Cream and Love.
Like Joanne and Vogue, Charlene and Ellie, two other ones in Ireland. There's always like two people that do it together. I'm like, oh, you're so lucky that you have each other, that you can just be bouncing off each other and you can just chat shit all the time. Whereas I can't just chat shit by myself. Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, 100%. And but I do think to do it, you have to be physically maybe in the same location. That's the other thing.
Exactly. Definitely. Yeah.
I think for the energy and for the kind of like, because I even like that, I was like, I'd love to have a co-host who's so relaxed as well, that talking, so that you could be hungover. Like it wouldn't be this kind of heaviness. You could be like, throw up the camera there, we shoot an episode. Like as in that, do you know, as in like that kind of relaxed nature, and to have somebody else who can also help with the little small details of setting up and stuff. And like, you know, the two of you are just like, that'll do. It's just like having a partner in it, which like I do envy that. But then sometimes I'm like, yous are fake laughing. Sometimes I do think people fake laugh a lot when it's just the two of them. But maybe they just find each other that gas. But I do, sometimes I'm like, you just can't find each other that gas all the time. Like there must be, you know? So that's...
Surely, we're doing it weekly. Yeah.
So that's where I think I'd love... Like that's why I think I want to playlist it. Like I want to do series. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like people, if they come, it's like, here's the film series. If you're interested in the film part of me, there's the film part of me. These are the drinking episodes where I'm just with gas people having fun. I'm shooting another episode later with my friend Sorka, and I'm so excited. I can actually tell you, because this episode won't be released today anyway, I'm making lemon drop shots, which I'm very excited about. And we're going to have Aperol Spritz. And like that, if you were here, I would have made us games, but it's almost impossible on Zoom. But I made games. And so I love that. I'm like, that's so fun. Like, I feel like that's such a fun vibe for me to do that with somebody. But again, I wouldn't want to do that every week because it's too light. And then with my dad is like, did you hear about this, and this? And I'm like, oh, yes, give it to me, Papa. So then I'm like, okay, but I might actually have to edit that video. I barely have to edit it. I don't think we need any footage of me saying, give it to me, Papa. So then... So then I might do like, you know, that's kind of like my dad. I want my dad to be like the journalist, you know, because my dad loves journalism. So I'm like, yeah, that's so interesting to me. So then that's why I think I might organize it so people are aware that I'm aware of the stark contrast of the vibe. You know what I mean? That I'm like, no, I know.
Yeah, you think this is random? I know.
Yeah. And then just have like a miscellaneous playlist, and it's just like my auntie or some random, like then it'd be like a clown or something. But like that, I want to even for myself kind of establish the difference and kind of organize it in a sense that I can pitch it to people as well, that I'm like, I'm doing a film series and I want you to be one of the film guests. So because I do think now that this is like, again, I don't know if I can leave this in, but fuck it, I will. People have to just know my vulnerabilities. But I'm in my camera's not charging. I'm in the film world, but like barely, do you know? Oh, there we go. I'm in the film world, but barely. So I know I'm a good writer. Like, I know that that's taken care of, but now I'm trying to do editing instead of becoming established as a writer, which essentially, directing, which essentially means that I'm like starting from scratch in a new field in the industry, right? Like I'm like a non-director trying to become a director. And this is why I did all of this as well, to understand cameras and editing and sound, like it's all part of the package. But I thought that it would be, now I haven't asked anybody, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm kind of the most scared of the film people, you know, that kind of way, because I'm not anybody yet. And a lot of these people have worked in the industry for 10, 12, 15 years. Like they knew they didn't have to smoke weed for 10 years to understand what they wanted to do with their lives. So they already were established. And so they all know each other. And then I'm like, I'm the new girl and I have a podcast, like a freak.
Yeah.
Like a freak.
Do you have people in mind? Like,
yeah, like thousands, you know. I would talk to every single, like, that's my passion, and that's my, like, you know, film is, I would talk to the person on the lowest rung of a film set, like, and you know what I'm saying, is in every single aspect of that is something I'm interested in. So that's where I want to go. Like, that's where I want to go. That's the part that almost feels the most important, so it feels the scariest, you know. Yeah, so I don't know what to do. I know. So that's where I'm like a little bit nervous, but I think that's kind of where I'm going to go next. I wanted to get it up and running so that I wasn't stressed about the production of it, and then start bringing on guests and be like, look, it's good, because they all produce as well. Like, they know good quality. They don't want shitty sound. They don't want shitty camera angles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's preferred.
And are these people that you have in mind, like, are they reachable? Like, can you contact them?
Yeah.
Is it like gonna happen kind of thing?
I don't know if they could all say no. Like, you know, they could all.
No, they won't. If you can get in contact with them and they will read your message, or you'll be able to talk to them, I'm sure that they will.
Oh, really?
Say yes.
You think just go for it?
First, like my mom says, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of that's the scariest step, is like reaching out to people that, like, no matter what, will hopefully be peers in the industry, you know? And so, so that's where I'm like the most nervous. And that's kind of why I started it as well, because it was an excuse to talk to loads of people and learn from them.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Like, you probably learn loads from them as well.
That was the main reason for starting the podcast, was that I was like, it's an amazing excuse to bring everybody that I admire into a room to talk, like, you know, to bring people that I love their work and talk to them and find out more about it, in a setting that's not on a set where everyone is basically like it. You know, you don't have time on set if you work with people to sit down and be like, talk to them for an hour about what they're doing. Do you know? So that's kind of why I started it. By the way, when I was getting dressed this morning, I was like, I don't know what Aislinn is going to come in, because I was like, if she's going out tonight, she's going to come ready. And then I was like,
no, I'm not doing anything.
You're not doing it tonight?
No, I'm not going out tonight. I just have my pajama bottoms on and a baggy t-shirt. So,
but then
my wet hair.
But then my first initial instinct was to put on this t-shirt, and then I was like, listen to your intuition, you know, because I was like, oh, maybe should I spice it up because it's Friday night for Aislinn? And then look at us, t-shirt girls.
Do nothing. The weather's shit, so I'm just chilling.
Yeah, it's also January. Is dry January a thing over there?
No, because it's summertime for us now, but the weather the last couple of days has been shocking, like really bad storms. So it's not giving much of a summer.
Okay, nice. And it's not giving much of a summer in Australia.
No, it is in general, but the last couple of days have been really bad, and the next couple of days will be bad too.
Oh, no.
When it's stormy here, it's fucking stormy.
Yeah, miserable, like.
Yeah, really. Like the other day was like heavy rain, non-stop lightning. It was crazy.
Oh, I kind of love that though.
Yeah, it was actually entertaining.
Yeah. And do you live too close to any of the girls? Like, I suppose you have Dennis now, but like, do you live in a walkable distance to any of the girls? Yeah.
All my friends are walkable or like 10-minute bus away. Yeah. Joanne's around the corner. Jennifer's like 10-15 minute walk, and then Holly's like 10-minute bus drive or 10-minute drive full stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everyone
lives in the eastern suburbs, which is like everyone Irish lives in the eastern suburbs, so you're no more than really like 20 minutes away in the car.
Wow, it's such a community over there of Irish people, isn't it?
It's mad. I'm
so sad. I'm like, come home.
And last time you said you might come over to Australia.
Yeah, I did. I forgot I said that actually. Now. Honestly, with the podcast, it seems sillier. It does. It does in the sense that, but Adam's brothers are over there. So like, I think, like, I don't know if I'll come over while you're still there. I'm not sure when you're like planning on moving back to Ireland or if you are, but like, I think long term, if his brothers stay there, we'll always do stints. Like I can imagine doing summers, you know, that kind of way. But for the foreseeable, maybe in a couple of years now, never say never. Like, I wouldn't mind coming over for a while. And to be fair, if there's that many Irish people over there, that it could just be fun. But I feel like I'm starting to pick up in work a little bit more here now. Do you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Like I keep being like, oh, I could go, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, I wouldn't want to miss that though, and I wouldn't want to miss that though, and I wouldn't want to miss that.
Bad timing.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, the Ireland is so small, which is such an advantage when you're in an industry like the film industry, because Galway Film Festival is on every year, and like I could come back for Galway, but like there's small things that if you keep going to things, like I just by chance, like I just went to a film the other day in the IFI, which is the Irish Film Institute, and just bumped into two girls that I've met now like out and about 4 times. Do you know, that kind of way? And they started a production company, 2 girls, and they're both writers and actors, and you know, and it's like that Ireland is so small that like you just bump into people, and the more that happens, the more like I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to leave that. Like I love Ireland for that reason. I like randomly bumping into people in town. Like it's just, there's not many other countries that you can just randomly bump into people. But in Sydney, I've heard you bump into people just walking down the beach in Sydney.
I mean, yeah, in Sydney, yeah, definitely, because we're all in the same fucking area.
Yeah, because...
But I think for you, yeah, probably at the timing that you're at and where you are in your career, you're probably better off to stay there.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a little bit too hungry, a little bit too cummy-uppy to really sacrifice some time in Ireland, you know? And it's such, like, if you move, you spend 4 months thinking about it on either end of moving, like, you know, like 4 months before you go and 4 months when you land. So, like, I don't know if I can sacrifice a year of living, you know? So, but I can see I could see us coming to Sydney for 6 weeks, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be lovely.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's actually so bizarre. I feel like I would have more people to go out with in Sydney than I do in Ireland.
You probably would.
Because I feel like everyone in Ireland, we talked about this on the episode I did with you, but like everyone in Ireland is settled and boring. No, I'm just kidding. Me included. But like everyone who's here is kind of buying a house, getting married, having kids, or they're very much like in their little couple groups. Do you know that kind of way? Whereas I feel like there's a lot more single out and about people in Australia. I'd actually,
definitely.
Now that we're talking about it, I'm like, I want to come soon.
Maybe I'm going to go. This guy's going after this.
I do love that January is warm for yous and it's shitty here. Like I do like that you know, that I can still have the Irish summer. Like I hate having to go somewhere. Yeah. So I definitely think, and like that, Ava's walking now, so it's, I know, she's so cute.
So cute. How is she?
Flying, like so funny. She's so funny.
What age is she now?
She's 3, so she'll be 4 in April. But she does this walk, right? Because obviously she's with me all the time. So she thinks dancing for 20% of the day is normal. She thinks singing randomly, just making songs up about anything. So like she's playing with these little stamps that have dinosaurs on them. And then she makes up her own songs now. So she's just sitting there. She just goes, dinosaur, dinosaur. And I was just looking at her and I was like, that's a tune. Like, that's such a good song.
That's a bop, Ava.
So,
you.
Yeah, honestly, I'm like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to interrupt her creative process. Like, she's making up songs. And like, you become such a parent, like such a stereotypical parent where you're like, she's making up songs and she's 3, but like, she's singing Dinosaur.
She's gifted. Yeah, she's musically talented.
Yeah. But no, it's just her gasness now. Like, she's so funny. Like, one of her favorite jokes is like, we put a nappy on her head, and I'm like, that's not a hat, that's a nappy. Like, you know, and she finds that so gas. So now she'll do that joke with so many things, you know? Yeah. But she's like, that's not a hat, that's a dinosaur. Like, yeah. So it's gotten really fun. Finally. No, just kidding. But I definitely prefer the human portion of the parenting experience.
Yeah.
I'm not a baby mom, you know? Yeah. What part of the parenting do you think that you'll like? Do you think, like, I think you'll be the same as me. Like, once they start walking, talking, dancing, you're just like, okay, it's getting good. It's getting better.
Yeah, definitely. They all be the same. Yeah, baby parent time, like snore, like you can't even speak to me, you can't say anything, you're just sitting there.
Yeah, you're just sitting there.
You want the phone.
Yeah.
Them to say gas things and be cute and be able to like come over and give you a kiss and a hug.
Yes, exactly. Or she just goes, Mommy, you look so pretty.
Oh, so cute.
I'm like, Ava, you look so pretty. And she goes, Mama, Ava looks so pretty.
You're teaching her well.
Yeah, I'm teaching her to be cocky like me. I am. We're just both of us just like strutting around the house being like, we are beautiful. But I love it, love it, love it. What else? Yeah, I feel like that was all. I really wanted to talk to you about the podcast. And then, so you're like, no plans for the future? Like, I'm trying to tempt you back.
For the future.
No, with the pod, like, there's no tempting you?
No. I think maybe I'll think about it again once the summer here is over, but no plans for the future. There's a couple of things that I want to do like in my own life, and I'll get those little things sorted, and then I'll think about it again.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Would you be happy to come back on here?
Yeah, love this.
Yeah. How does it feel being on the other side? I know what it feels like. But you haven't done someone else's podcast yet, have you?
No, actually, no. Nobody's asked me once.
There's no other podcasters, really, though. Is there other Irish podcasters in Oz?
There's Sinead Haig is here, but other than that, I don't think so. Actually, to be honest, there surely is, but I actually don't think there is. Which I'm surprised about. To be fair, I'm surprised there's not one or two more. But yeah, no.
I'd say everyone's over there trying to maintain, because like here you can be broke because you have more of a foundation, like as in you can afford to be creative a bit more because you've got your parents down the road.
That is true.
You know, so I'd say everyone in Australia is like, right, well, let me stay here by keeping this job and keeping going. Yeah.
Getting the next fucking visa and shit like that.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot more paperwork when you're in a different country. And so then I'm trying to convince everyone, I'm like, Australia's hard to live in compared to here. I just wish the global warming would speed up so we became a hotter country faster. No, just kidding. But kinda, you know?
Kidding.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, just give us the 35 degrees. We'll take it.
Do you know what I mean? Imagine if it was warm in Ireland all the time.
Best country in the world. Best country in the fucking world when it's hot.
Country in the world. When the sun is shining, when there's blue skies, amazing.
Best country in the world. And how does it feel? Like, did you, like, doing this, were you just, like, did it feel, like, you know the way you would have the kind of build-up of, like, okay, is everything sorted? And then today you were just like, oh, I just sit down and chat.
It's like I have none to prepare. I have no idea what we're going to be talking about. Like literally zero. It was grand,
yeah. Did you? Because I haven't. I honestly, because the workload is so heavy that I'm like, right, if I have to fully prep questions as well, I feel like it will just be annoying for me. But did you feel like the questions I asked you were the kind of the questions you thought I was going to ask you anyway?
Honestly, I had no idea. To be honest, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know what way you were going to go with it. If we were just going to have the chats about like things we did in the past or whatever, I had no idea. Gas. But I like them. I like the questions.
I like your questions. I like your questions too. I mean, we could talk about things we did in the past. I was thinking about eyebrow piercings, but then I was like, she is a married, wed woman now. We can't get into the nitty-gritty. See, this is why I think. I'm only gonna, I know. But it's annoying as well. Did you find this with Zoom that the audio doesn't always come through?
A little bit, yeah. That it can be a bit slow, like.
Or it just doesn't pick up on your audio, like.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little bit shitty.
Fucking annoying. Because I'm missing like some of the times you laugh and I can't hear you, and I'm like, I want to hear that gorgeous laugh.
Oh no! Is it because we're laughing at the same time? Maybe
potentially it's picking up my shit rather than yours. Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Tell me when you're gonna laugh, and I'll just mute myself. But if people wanted to hear, because we could split it in two now, because we've done an hour. Are you in a rush off back to Den? No. Would you mind me calling him? Does anyone call him Denny?
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Call him Denny. Yeah. Denny or the Denzer.
The Denzer. I feel like if someone calls someone the Denzer, you instantly know that they are like, just shut up and park the car. Like, is he that type of lad? I honestly don't.
So funny and specific. I gave him, he has a water bottle and a little, what's it called? Like a fucking stubby, is it stubby holder? To hold his can, but like a Yeti. Have you heard of Yeti? Do you know what a Yeti is?
Yes, I think so, yeah. It's a big drink, the big metal one.
Yeah. But I branded it with the Denzer on both of them, and it's the best thing he's ever owned. He's fucking obsessed with it.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, he probably just likes to have something big to drink water out of as well. But like, it's.
I mean, yeah.
But it's the practicality. He's a practical man.
Very practical, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that for you. Where is he from?
He's from Cork, Buttevant. You probably wouldn't have heard of Buttevant.
No, that makes perfect sense. I was looking at you. I was creeping on you as well yesterday. You look so fab. You got such a tan in Thailand, did you?
The camera I'm using as well makes me look way more tanned. And also definitely fake as well for whatever photo you're probably looking at.
No, but you've definitely got a good colour on your chest and all. Like, there's definitely an enhanced natural
glow. I was out in the sun every day. Yeah, I was trying.
You look so beautiful, gorgeous, look so happy. Like, it was really nice to see.
Thank you.
But what camera is that you're flashing away with?
You Canon, but I don't. I actually couldn't tell you what the number is. It's like EOS.
But it's like an old digital camera.
It's an old, it's an old digital camera basically.
Like when everyone started getting those digital cameras.
No, I've had it for ages ago for like photography stuff when I was back about 10 years ago when I was doing bloggy stuff. But now it's like a really old version of a Canon, so it gives that kind of old look, even though it's only about 6 years old, or maybe it's probably more than 6 years old in terms of when it was made. But for me, it's 6 years old since I bought it.
Well,
so
it's gorge. Yeah. I'm happy for all your friends as well, because it really takes lovely photos, which is just...
Oh, yeah. I brought it to the Gold Coast when I went for Jennifer's birthday and everyone was buzzing with it.
Yeah, because, it's such a relief when you're just like, I look good in these, fine. Like, let's keep taking pictures.
Brilliant.
Then. Yeah.
The flash, like, is seriously doing favours.
Yeah. And what did you get each other for Christmas?
So we weren't going to get each other presents, and then he bought me a Dyson, and I haven't gotten him anything yet. But I am getting him something. He sent me a pair of runners that he wants. He got you
the Dyson, like?
Dyson Airwrap, yeah. Because I was on about just a cheaper version, like this thing called Bondi Boost.
Yeah.
And then he went, I don't know why, like we literally were like, we're not getting each other presents because we're going on holidays. And then he went shopping and he came back with a Dyson Airwrap. And he was like, the other thing was sold out, so I just got this. I was like, this is way more expensive. And he was like, yeah, no, it's grand. Happy Christmas.
Aww. That's so nice.
Yeah, so he's very good.
Oh, the Denzer coming through. And do you know how to work it? Because I bought a Dyson Airwrap and then returned it because I was like, this is not worth my mental health. I find it so hard to use.
My friend gave me tips the other day. I've only used it maybe like 3 times because I'm waiting for this like spritzing shit for my hair, because my hair is so fucking frizzy lately because of the humidity. So I need that first, and then I'll see if I can use it. But I think it'll be okay.
Your hair's looking fab. So. I love it down like this. Is that the natural wave?
Yeah, it's still a bit wet. Yeah,
I love
natural
it.
Wave, girl.
I love it.
Thank you. So is yours. Is that your natural as well? Because I've been noticing it in your videos.
Yeah, who knew? Who fucking knew? Did I have
gorgeous.
I know.
Because you always used to have like really straight hair, I feel. Or were you always just straightening it?
Straightening it.
No, it's lovely.
Yeah,
and like the layering effect.
Yeah, I just cut it myself. I was about to say bipolar, but I don't think you can joke about that stuff anymore. I'm so unhinged that I literally was just like, I'm just going to do the layers myself. I was going to book in. I just find with curly hair, like I don't have curly hair, I have wavy hair, but with wavy hair, I'm like, I don't know if people know how to cut my hair really. Like I don't, I don't know who to go to. So I just chopped it a bit myself. Does it look a bit layery? I suppose it does at the front. Hopefully it worked.
Yeah, in the front it does, yeah.
Yeah, who fucking knows at this point? I'm just going with it. But yeah, I put a bit of leave-in conditioner in it. That's it.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, and I've gone all organic, like with everything. I've gone a bit like hippie that I'm like, I don't want to use too much product, so I'm trying to use like all the fucking hippie shampoo and stuff, which I do think might be pulling it back to what it's originally supposed to be. I don't know though. Let's see.
Okay.
And what else? What was your favorite Placé memory? Am I in it? I hope I'm in it.
You probably are. Yeah, because we spent all the time together. So
you went out way more than me. Oh, Ashlyn was so generous to me in college, everybody. She used to just give me money. I think it was just because you really wanted me to come out with you. But you'd be like, I'll just lend you money. I'll just lend you money again. I'll just lend you money again. So like I had like a little bit of you were like my credit union during college for a while. Like I remember it got up to like 150 one point, and then I was like, right, half, and then I worked, so I gave it all back. Yeah. You were so generous to me. You were so nice. You were like, you're obviously drinking. And I was like, Ashlyn, I'm so poor. And you were just like, I'll get it for you and just pay me back. And I was like, oh, okay. I'll go. But then...
Where are you getting all this money from, honestly? That's hilarious.
The bar... You used to work in the bar in the horse racing with the dogs, right?
Dog racing, yeah. Dog track, yeah.
But then you used to go out. You used to go into Limerick, and me and Ciara did not go out.
My memory is so bad, but you used to just stay at home. Like, did you ever? No, you definitely did.
Yeah, I definitely did a few times, and I just found it. I'm still the same, to be fair. Like, I just don't think I'm a like club person. Yeah,
I'm definitely not anymore either.
No, and even at that time, I was just like, if there's 2 bad songs in a row, it will just severely affect my mood. You know. Yeah, I'm going home and then I'll just listen to Macklemore for like 2 hours and just smoke rollies. And I couldn't smoke inside in the club, and I wanted to just smoke rollies. I always just wanted to have really like fun with my friends, or like have chats and be drunk and be chatty, you know? Like I wasn't really trying to bop around.
You were older than your years. Do you know what I mean? You actually had no interest in that vibe. Because like a couple of years after that, I'm like, I couldn't be arsed. I just want to sit in a bar and chat with my friends. The music's too loud. I'm like, well, turn it down.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
Yeah. And just remember, we used to go into the library, I think it was called, and it was just, you're just pushing around. You know, you're just fucking pushing around. And then like lads can grab you a lot easier in a crowd. Not that I was always getting grabbed. I mean, I wish someone would grab me now. But no, just kidding. But like, you know, like lads, you know the way you're just pushing through a crowd and then, you know, you're just kind of, someone's like sweat just rubs off on your shoulder. I'd just be like, oh, this is fucking sick. Whereas you were always just like, yeah, woo, woo, woo. Like you would get into the club. Like, no, I feel like you were more of a buzzer. And like that, I think I was probably a little bit too broke to kind of let go and be able to get more drinks. Do you know the way you kind of need to be able to go to the bar?
Yeah.
Like, so
I used to rob drinks left, right, and centre, girl. You should have come with me. I used to be like, oh, there's a pint of Heineken there, but only 2 subs taken out of it. Boom, in my head. Disgusting. Like,
I don't know. That sounds like a cheat. I actually bought a naggin for the first time and snuck it in over Christmas, and I was like, whoa. I mean, yeah, I blacked out. So
it's fun. No, throwback to the naggins. Like, I used to honestly think, how do people afford to not drink naggins? Like, I couldn't grasp it. I was like, am I gonna get to a stage where I can just afford to go in and like buy drinks all night? Like, it's still so expensive. Like, it's so expensive. But I was like, there'll never be a point that I don't understand why I would spend that money anyways when I could just get a naggin and drink that.
The night becomes cheaper because like if you drink wine, like, you know, once you start drinking wine enjoyably, like I love a red wine night, and like it's kind of cheap to drink red wine, you know what I mean? Like you can get like 6, I'm not giving away how much I drink now, which is a lot, but like you could get 6 glasses for under €40, whereas I think like at that point you want a Jaeger bomb, you want to, you know what I mean, you want all the expense. And bars charge way less than clubs, and clubs water down more. So I feel like it's kind of becomes a money pit when you go out in that way. And also now, I actually think I might start getting naggins again, which probably is a bit tacky of me. But like, I just think have a hip flask, because I drink vodka sodas and I'll buy a single, but like I just want a little top up. I just want a little bit more than a single. Yeah. So I'm like, I'll buy a single, I'll buy a vodka soda, no problem. But like it's gone in 2 minutes. Like 2 minutes it's gone, vodka sodas.
It's so annoying. I love a vodka soda as well. But that element, I'm like, but I get something else because it's gone in literally, and everyone's there with pints and they're still sipping away and you're doing rounds and it's like, mine's gone.
Yeah. And then, yeah, exactly. Whereas now I get a double. If they have soda on tap, you're laughing. Like if they've the gun soda, you're laughing. So then I'll get a single vodka soda in a pint glass. So then I'll have the single. Oh, sure, you won't know. My camera. Oh no, wait. No, it's not. It's given up. It's given up soon. I'll do a single in a pint glass full of soda, and then I'll just do a little top up. That's what I think. But then I don't know. I do think when you get a nagging, at least when you're out, you can. I don't count drinks, but at least you kind of have to like wait at the bar. At least there's like a 5-minute delay before your next drink.
I know,
because I blacked out and got kicked out of Whelan's. So.
Oopsies.
Yeah. So I wouldn't suggest it to anyone, but I definitely was like, we should get naggins. It was after bottomless brunch as well.
So smart.
So intense. Like it was so unnecessary. And obviously I'm the idiot who suggests it, so everyone does it, but nobody else got as fucked as me, so it was karma. But yeah, I actually like kind of went off. I'm just going to tell you about myself now. I kind of went off drinking. Altogether. And then, you know, when you go off it for so long that you're just like, I miss having fun. Do you know, that kind of way? And then at Christmas, I was like, I just want to have fun again, actually. Yeah. So I'm kind of back on the drinking train where I'm just like, I don't need to be sober, but I need to not black out. So I need to find that balance. What do you drink? Vodka sodas. How do you not black out? Do you count?
Do actually a lot of the time.
Oh, nice. That makes me feel seen.
No, I do. Well, I definitely do. How do I? No, like I actually do a lot of times. That makes me sound very bad. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like I could drink the same amount and be grand, and then another night it's like, oh, I actually can't remember 3 hours of that night.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how I got home. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
That's happened to me on Stephen's night as well. I went to my friend Kieran's and went to his mom's house for dinner, which was so cute. It was so cute. And he was making porn star martinis. He's the best and worst friend for going out with because he is like flawless in like his design of the night, you know? So he would like, of course, was like, let's make porn star martinis, which I fucking love porn star martinis. So delicious. So he was making them and then, but you don't notice that there's vodka and Prosecco, I think, in them. But again, I've drank cocktails on other nights and like kept it together the whole night. But then like that night, I don't know, gone with the wind. Like apparently doing karaoke, no recollection, like, you know, and it's not coming back.
It's really like, it's scary. I find I'm way worse on wine and Prosecco though. If I'm drinking it like all night long, like obviously if I'm just having a few, I'm not going on a mad one, I'll have a couple of glasses of like red wine with dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
But wine and Prosecco all night, oh, it's lethal. I've woken up and been in the ultimate depths of fear after wine and Prosecco. So that's why I think vodka suits me a bit better.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink Aperol Spritz today, which I feel like is a safe...
Yeah,
is that a safe
I've never heard anyone say that that's not a safe one. So go ahead and try it.
Yeah.
Let me know how you get on.
Yeah. But I do. But also it's like when you value, like this is the thing, I want to start drinking stuff that like vodka soda is hydrating. That's like why, that's the number one reason. I'm literally drinking a pint of water with every drink automatically. Like, so I do think it's my drink. I think I'm a vodka soda girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And what else? See, I feel like we could keep going, but if the camera's going to die, but I feel like if we do it again, because I feel like this time I was very much in my head being like, right, I'm going to ask Aislinn all about the podcast. But I feel like we could just do like a catch-up episode next time and just chat shit and just have it a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So wild that me and Kira have a kid.
So mad. I can't believe you're a mom. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. I'm Kira's mom. Well, imagine if we were to back in the day have said like who would be a mom first, you'd probably would you have said me? I wouldn't have said the two of you anyways.
No, I
probably wouldn't have said myself either.
But to be honest, I've always been a sexual deviant. So I do feel like I think one of us would have cracked the joke being like, you'll probably get pregnant by Adam or something like randomly. Like I do. That's what I mean. It doesn't seem that out of left field that would, like, because at that time, you know, I was just obsessed with him and like it was a weird, you know, like he was still around. So it wasn't like, I quite like that it's Adam because I feel like every single person in my entire life knows who he is. It's quite nice in that sense, you know.
And it's Adam. It's so fucking full circle. It's unbelievable.
I know, it's so cute. Okay, guys, see you next time. Say bye. No, audio didn't work. Say bye again. No.
I can only say it one more time. Bye.
There's a social media clip. That's perfect. Nothing.
Just use the other two as well of me going.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't see your thing. But I need to tell you, I need an advice.